Let me guess, you've heard 1,000 times that you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. Since you want to lose fat fast, you cut your calories low and you start to lose fat, but before long, you plateau and put the weight back on. This leads to an up and down cycle of fat loss where you get stuck in the middle without much real progress. In my experience as a personal trainer and a men's health coach, I've seen men make this mistake time and time again. As someone with less than 6% body fat, I can tell you the path to getting lean sustainably will not be found in drastically cutting your calories. In this video, I'm going to explain the number one mistake men make when trying to lose fat and how you can avoid it so that you can lose fat, get lean, and maintain that leanness for the rest of your life. The number one fat loss mistake men make is trying to lose fat too fast. And there's three major reasons why this is a problem. The first is called metabolic adaptation. And this is when your body slows down its metabolism to compensate for a lower calorie intake. If you aren't aware, your metabolism is just the number of calories that you burn per day. When you have a high metabolism, this means that you burn a lot of calories throughout the day. But whenever you significantly drop your calories, your body slows its metabolism. So you're probably wondering, why would the body slow the metabolism when you lower calories? Well, the reason is because when you cut calories too fast, your body basically believes that it's starving. So as a way to keep you alive, it slows down the number of calories you need to burn so that you can eat less food and not starve to death. All of us humans evolved from our caveman ancestors. So imagine a caveman out on the savannah or in the woods, and he doesn't have access to much food. Well, if he doesn't get food in time, eventually he's going to starve and wither away. So we, as humans, evolved this mechanism where whenever we don't have much food around, our bodies slow our metabolism to preserve what we have left to keep us from dying. So the first reason why drastically cutting your calories slows your metabolism is because of metabolic adaptation. The second reason why is because drastically cutting your calories leads to muscle loss. And this goes back to the same evolutionary principle that we just talked about. Whenever you're in an extreme calorie deficit, the first type of tissue to be burned is actually going to be muscle tissue. The reason for this is because our bodies evolved body fat as a way of storing energy for a long period of time. For our cavemen ancestors, this was a good thing because it gave our bodies an energy supply to keep us alive during times of food deprivation. However, in the modern world, when you deceive your body into believing that it's starving by cutting your calories too fast, your body thinks, okay, I'm starving. The most important thing I need is body fat because it's stored energy and it's going to keep me alive. So your body breaks down muscle tissue because muscle tissue is less essential for just staying alive. For a caveman, it would be great to have a lot of muscle mass, but it's not entirely necessary. So when you cut your calories fast and your body thinks it's starving, the first thing to go is muscle mass. Here's why this is a problem. Of course, all of us men want to have muscle mass, but muscle is a metabolically active tissue. This means that muscle burns more calories at rest than fat. So the more muscle you have on your body, the higher your metabolism and the more calories you burn. So as you can see, if you lose muscle because you're cutting your calories too low, your metabolism is going to slow down. So now you have two things negatively affecting your metabolism. You have metabolic slowdown and muscle loss. But there's a third one that most men completely overlook because they're not aware of it. And that is your testosterone levels. Research shows that when you drastically cut your calories and lose weight too fast, your body lowers testosterone production. And this is a problem for many reasons, but testosterone is a really important moderator of your metabolism. So essentially, the higher your testosterone levels, the higher your metabolism. And this is because one of testosterone's main jobs is to drive energy production. But there's several other reasons why lower testosterone is a problem. One of testosterone's primary functions is driving muscle growth. So when you have lower testosterone, your body's not going to produce or hold on to as much muscle mass. Testosterone sends signals to your body to prioritize using calories for preserving and building muscle. So when you have low testosterone because you're cutting calories too fast, your body is not going to receive those signals to pack on muscle. The second problem is testosterone also sends signals to your body to use fat as an energy source instead of breaking down muscle when you're in a calorie deficit. So if you take your deficit too low and you have low testosterone, your body's going to choose to break down muscle instead of fat for energy. Because when you're in a calorie deficit, your body has to take tissue from somewhere. Again, energy can't be created or destroyed. And there's only two types of tissue that we can lose, muscle or fat. And testosterone tells your body to hold on to muscle and shed fat instead. So this is why it's so important to keep your testosterone levels high, especially when you're trying to lose fat. Testosterone is also important for your strength and your physical energy. Like we talked about, testosterone increases metabolism, and this gives you physical and mental energy. So if you go to the gym and you feel kind of lethargic or you don't have a lot of energy throughout the day, that might be because of low testosterone. So when you have higher testosterone levels, you go to the gym with more energy, you get better quality workouts, and testosterone also increases muscular power output. So within your workouts, you'll be able to lift more weights. This leads to more progressive overload and more muscle growth. Testosterone is also important for red blood cell production. And you're probably wondering, okay, Josh, I just want to lose fat. Why does this matter? But stay with me here. Red blood cells transport oxygen throughout your body. Your body needs oxygen in order for your muscles to function properly. So if you have low testosterone and you have low red blood cell count as a result, your workouts are not going to be nearly as effective. So you're getting less bang for your buck every time you go to the gym if you have low testosterone. There's a reason why bodybuilders and athletes take steroids and performance enhancing drugs. Both of these are just testosterone in doses that are way higher than our bodies could ever naturally reproduce. So if the highest performing fitness and athletic professionals in the world are taking surplus amounts of testosterone to fuel their physiques and performance, this is a good indicator that testosterone is something that you should be prioritizing naturally. So when you try to lose fat too fast and you tank your testosterone levels as a result, you're sacrificing all of the benefits of testosterone that I just spoke about for losing weight at a faster rate, which we've established is not sustainable anyway. Okay, so we've established that rapid weight loss leads to a slower metabolism and lower testosterone levels. And this leads to a negative feedback loop, which is what's keeping your fat loss stuck. Whenever you drop your calories really low, your metabolism slows down. When your metabolism slows down, you need to eat less calories to stay in a calorie deficit. But when you eat less calories, that causes your metabolism to slow down even more. When your metabolism slows down more, you have to eat even less calories to stay in a deficit. And this leads to a downhill spiral where you get to the point where you're eating like a bird and you're still not losing fat. I've worked with two guys who were 230 pounds and about 250 pounds respectively, and they were both eating between 1,200 and 1,800 calories, and their body fat percentage was still in the mid to high 20s. For context, my girl, who is 4'11 and a little over 100 pounds, she eats like 1,500 to 1,800 calories a day. So the reason why these guys weren't able to lose fat, even though their calories were so low, is because their metabolism had slowed down so much because they tried to lose weight too fast. By now, you should understand that cutting your calories and trying to lose weight too fast is a recipe for disaster. So my first practical tip for you is to develop patience. You need to adopt a long-term perspective and expand your time horizon. Instead of thinking, I want to lose 30 pounds and get a six-pack in 2 months, you need to think, how can I get a six-pack in the next 6 months to a year? But also, how can I sustain that for the rest of my life? Because in theory, you could starve yourself and end up looking like a Holocaust survivor and get a six-pack, and you could do that quickly in a few months. But is that something that you could maintain for the rest of your life? I've had a six-pack for pretty much as long as I can remember, and I don't starve myself. I don't cut calories super low. You need to develop a strategy that you can maintain for the rest of your life. But if you're a guy who's stuck in one of those lows where you started to lose fat, but you cut your calories too low, so now your metabolism is slow, you're eating next to nothing, but you're still not losing fat. If that's the situation that you're in, your only option right now is to actually bulk. And this is called reverse dieting. So you need to eat in a calorie surplus to reset your metabolism. And then after you do that, you can cut calories again and start losing fat. This is the exact process that I used with my clients to help them lose fat. And here's why it's beneficial. Right now, your metabolism is super low. So if you try to keep losing fat, you're just gonna keep lowering your metabolism. And before you know it, you'll be eating an apple and a carrot a day and you still won't be losing fat. So the only way out of this cycle, you have to take a step backwards to take 2 steps forwards. The step backwards for you is bulking and gaining muscle and increasing your metabolism. Now this means that your body fat is probably going to stay about the same, because in order to gain muscle, you need to be in a calorie surplus. So you're going to have to be patient and sit through this period of raising your metabolism back up through reverse dieting before you can start losing fat again. When you start eating more calories, your body will increase your metabolism. When you are in a calorie surplus, your body is able to put on muscle. And like we said, muscle tissue is metabolically active. So as you put on more muscle mass, your metabolism is going to raise. And then when you're no longer in starvation mode, your body will start producing testosterone again. So once you get your metabolism up through these 3 mechanisms, you can then start transitioning into another fat loss phase, but not until you get your metabolism back up and you establish a foundation of muscle mass. And this is exactly the problem that I saw with several of the clients that I worked with. They were essentially skinny fat. So they didn't have much muscle, but they really wanted to lose that last bit of fat. But if you don't put on muscle first and you try to lose fat, not only is your physique not going to look very great because you don't have much muscle mass, but your metabolism is going to be so low, you're going to be eating nothing, and it's going to be extremely challenging to continue losing fat. So putting on muscle should be your first priority. And to do that, you need to prioritize lifting weights. It's a common mistake that cardio is the primary driver of fat loss. And although cardio is very important for your overall health and everyone should be doing cardio, the thing you should be focused on if you really want to lose fat over the long term is your metabolism. To have a high metabolism, you want to have a lot of muscle mass. So prioritize lifting weights at least 3 to 4, ideally 4 to 5 times a week. Still do your cardio, but don't prioritize cardio over lifting weights. And with the clients that I've worked with, I found that about taking 3 months to reverse diet and put on muscle is a good amount of time to establish a foundation of muscle mass before transitioning over into the final fat loss phase. In this phase, you're going to be losing fat, but you're going to do it slowly over a long period of time. So when you finally do get to that level of leanness that you want to be at, you can maintain it for the rest of your life without having rebounds and putting the fat back on. But the fat loss approach that you should follow is one that you've probably never heard of before. You've probably heard that you need to lose 1 pound per week, or you need to be in a 500 calorie deficit. But the thing is, every man and woman's body is a different size. So trying to lose weight by number of pounds or by number of calories doesn't account for the size of the individual, and it also doesn't account for the current body fat of the individual. So a bigger person could get away with losing more weight per week than a smaller person. If a 300-pound man lost a pound per week, that's a lot less of a percent of his total body mass than a 150-pound man. So a 300-pound man and a 150-pound man should be losing different amounts of weight per week. So in order to account for this, you should be losing weight as a percent of your body weight. And the percent of your body weight that you should lose ranges from about 0.5 to 1.5% of your body weight. Where on the spectrum you fall, how much of a percent of your body weight you should lose per week depends on your starting body fat percentage. If you have a really high body fat percentage, like 30+%, you should be losing about 1.5% of your body weight per week. If you're more in the middle, say your body fat is around 15 to 25, you should be losing 1% of your body weight per week. But if your body fat is already relatively low, let's say 15 or lower percent, you should only be losing about 0.5% of your body weight per week. This percentage-based approach not only accounts for your body size, but it also accounts for your current body fat percentage, which determines how much body fat you should aim to lose. In summary, losing weight as a percentage of your body fat makes 100% sure that you lose fat at a slow, steady, sustainable pace that will get you to the level of leanness that you want without crashing your metabolism. When you lose fat slowly, you maintain high testosterone levels, and having high testosterone levels while you're in a calorie deficit signals to your body to burn fat for energy instead of muscle. This is why it's so important that you don't tank your metabolism and you don't tank your testosterone levels by rushing. And this raises my final and all important point, which is how you should maintain high testosterone levels while you're in a calorie deficit. Now, going to the gym and lifting weights is a great start, but what you do outside of the gym is arguably more important than what you do in the gym. And a lot of guys neglect how they should be maintaining their testosterone levels outside of the gym. This is something that most men overlook because they just think their workouts are the most important part, but it's not. So here's a couple things that you can do to ensure that your testosterone levels remain high so that your body knows to lose fat as an energy source in a calorie deficit instead of muscle. Number one is your sleep quality and quantity. Your body produces the most testosterone during sleep. So you need to make sure that you have a consistent sleep schedule, that you are sleeping in a cool, dark, quiet environment, that you're not going on your phone before bed, and that you're really making it a priority. A lot of guys say that they're too busy for sleep, but if you're too busy for sleep, you need to get your priorities straight. So the first is sleep quality and quantity. The second is the quality of your diet. So yes, you can lose fat as long as you're in a calorie deficit, and you can do that eating donuts and protein powder. However, the problem with this approach is you're not giving your body the vitamins and minerals that it needs to produce testosterone optimally. The best diet to do this is called the Paleo diet. On the Paleo diet, you eat the types of foods that our caveman ancestors would have eaten. So you're only going to eat whole, single ingredient, all natural foods like meats and fruits, eggs, seafood, but you're not going to eat any processed fast food or fried food or chips or packaged snacks. Yes, you can technically lose fat eating those types of foods if you're in a calorie deficit, but understand that every calorie that you eat that's low quality is detracting from calories that are high quality that will give your body the sustenance that it needs to produce testosterone optimally. So if you really want to lose fat, you should go on a paleo diet. A quick side note on the paleo diet. If you want to lose fat without ever counting calories, just follow the paleo diet very strictly. You will be so full from all the protein and the fiber that it's damn near impossible to be in enough of a calorie surplus to put on fat, especially if you're lifting a few times a week and also moving outside of the gym. A lot of guys just go to the gym and they train and then they sit and they're sedentary for the rest of the day. So it's really important to try to get 10,000 steps, get up and walk around, and also do some cardio to burn more calories. So my point is, if you're lifting and also burning calories outside of the gym, if you just strictly follow the paleo diet, you don't really need to count calories, and I can guarantee that you will lose fat. The other benefit of the paleo diet is it is hands down the best diet for testosterone optimization, not only because it provides all the vitamins and minerals your body needs to produce testosterone, but it also helps you avoid all of the harmful additives that lower testosterone. If you aren't aware, processed artificial foods contain a lot of ingredients like you might have heard of seed oils, preservatives, and dyes. And all of these artificial chemicals add up in our bodies and cause systemic inflammation, which is essentially just when your body's angry because there's a lot of unhealthy things in it. And systemic inflammation lowers testosterone. So the paleo diet is certainly the best diet for testosterone. So you have sleep, the paleo diet. The other important factor for your testosterone levels is stress. The stress hormone cortisol blocks testosterone from doing its job. So you need to practice stress management techniques such as stoicism and meditation. I have other videos on those that you can watch in more detail. But the point is, even if you're going to the gym and even if you're in a calorie deficit, if you're stressed out all the time and you have a lot of cortisol in your bloodstream, that's going to block out testosterone. And when you have low testosterone, as we talked about, your body's not going to prioritize muscle mass. It's going to prioritize fat retention. So make sure to manage your stress. There are a lot of other details that go into optimizing your testosterone, like avoiding certain environmental chemicals called endocrine disruptors. Your mental health and your mindset plays a big role, just like the way that stress does. Depression and anxiety can also have a negative effect on testosterone. Certain habits in your sexual life affect your testosterone levels as well. Frequent excessive ejaculation could be associated with lower testosterone levels. So there are a lot of parameters that need to be followed accurately and consistently to maintain high testosterone levels so that you can lose fat instead of muscle while you're in a calorie deficit. So if you want to know all of the details required for optimal testosterone, check out the top link in the description of this video. That link will lead you to my Testosterone Transformation Academy, which is a program I've developed to help men optimize their testosterone levels naturally. It is hands down the best natural testosterone optimization program on the market. So if that sounds like something you could benefit from, check out that link. We've covered a lot in this video, so I'm going to quickly summarize so that you remember the key points that you need to take away and start applying to your life today. Number one, when losing fat, do so slowly and sustainably over a long period of time by losing weight as a percentage of your body weight, not arbitrary numbers of calories or poundages. While you're losing fat, make sure to take measures to maximize your testosterone levels, because testosterone tells your body to prioritize preserving muscle mass and using fat as an energy source while you're in a calorie deficit. Lose fat slowly, be patient, and keep your testosterone levels high as you do so. If you do that, you'll be able to get lean and stay lean for the rest of your life. That's all I have for this video. I'll see you in the next one.